Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. At the shop today, working on this S40. I don't know, maybe an 06 or something like that. Anyway, we're having some kind of variable timing code error. So we put a oil pressure gauge on it. That checked out good. And now I'm getting ready to put the sensor back in there. It goes there. Yeah, I take the dipstick out of the way to get it in. So let me go ahead and take the pressure gauge out, put the sensor back in, and go from there. Back together, we had to come up here, bolt the oil dipstick tube back in to the motor. So it's nice and firm, the level's good. Plug an air tube into the air box, hook up the air intake scoop, and I found the fuel pressure little dust cap off of the fuel rail there. Put that on, ready to move this car out of the way until we can do some more troubleshooting on it. On deck is this Ford Aspire. It's having starting issues. It cranks every once in a while, not every time you try. Smoking and having a full fuel consumption issue. So, I'm ready to check it out. We're about the fuel consumption and issue, but when we turn the ignition, it clicked a couple of times. So it may have a starter going out in it. It has a check engine light, but you can plainly see that there's a vacuum loose on this emission canister. So I reconnected that, and I'm gonna look for some more vacuum lines being loose. Okay, so we tested the starter, and it wasn't getting its 12 volts all the time. Sometimes it only got about 5. So we realized the ignition switch was gummy, sticking a little bit. So we pulled the collar off, unplugged the electrical part of the ignition switch, and started it with a screwdriver on that side. Fired up every time. So we lubricated the tumbler side of the ignition switch, and now it fires up every time, and it's getting its 12 volts to the starter every time. So that switch has one 12 millimeter screw there. You can unplug the electrical lead by undoing that lock and unplugging it from the electrical harness. And the collar has 3 Phillips screws on the bottom side of it. So I'm putting this back together, and we're going to check the spark plugs and stuff, see why it was consuming too much fuel. Engine mounts, they seem to be good. We had a cam position sensor code. I'm going to take it for a test drive. He said he had a lot of noise when it was in second gear, so just making sure it's running good, doesn't have any noisy issues there. To be shifting very well, a little noisy. Heck, the whole vehicle's noisy compared to mine. Once you get over 25 miles an hour, it sounds like the blower motor in the car is blowing full blast. So I'm going to take the defrost off, see if that makes any difference on the noise. But the temperature on the cluster is not going up, so it may have a bad thermostat stuck open. That may be the issue with poor gas mileage. Fluid level in the manual transmission, we have a bad crush washer here, keeps leaking fluid. So I don't know how long it's been leaking, but if you look up here, this is the speed sensor. It sends a signal to the speedometer, and it has a 10 millimeter bolt that goes into it from the top, and you have to take that out, lift it up out of there, and you use this for a dipstick to check your level. And as you can see, the shaft on this is dry, so the level is very low. It's into the gear area. Now you're supposed to pull that seal off in order to check the level, so you make sure you push it all the way down. And but over here, the lower tip is the low level, and the next notch up is the full level. This transmission is extremely low. So we're going to confirm with the vehicle owner, but as you can see, you get at this from under the vehicle, and I reached over the exhaust to get the sensor bolt in and out. It's a 10 millimeter that holds it in, and then your cable for your speedometer is there. So that's how you check your fluid level in your manual transmission on this vehicle. So let me get this work down in there and put the bolt back in the top of it. Confirm that they want it serviced. My pumpkin expired at the shop, but we put that speedo cable back in. That speedo cable, the tip of it has to be perfectly lined up to drop into that sensor before you can screw that nut back on there to hold the cable into the sensor. So I'm headed home. Supposed to work on the green machine today, and it is sleeting in my area. I'm here with the green machine. I got a call last night. Somebody, I guess, desperately needing a vehicle. So they asked me about this. I'm willing to let it go. But there's a few things that I need to do on it real quick, including getting all my crap out the back of it. So let me get started working on this, and I'm going to start out with the rear hatch latch. I believe I have that with me. The rear hatch on this vehicle was a pain in the rear for the previous owner, and basically when it's unlocked it doesn't open all the time. But I kind of learned that if you pull it pretty hard to open it a couple times, it'll go ahead and open up. I put some lifts in it yesterday, and the lift on the passenger side came loose, so I did go to the salvage yard and get a pin for that. So I'm going to pin that strut so that it stays open, and I'm going to replace this latch back here because I get a door open and it doesn't like to work all the time. What I'm going to do is pull that screw out of there, pull this trim down, and put that strut back on with some pins in them. Here's the old struts I took off a couple days ago. I'm going to go ahead and pitch those in the trash. I don't think there's no cord for those. That support strut installed, and now the hatch is going up in good position. Now it's time for me to work on the latch. Stuff out of the back of the vehicle, and I realized the floor panel wasn't in. I think the previous owner was working on a possible fuel pump replacement. So next I'm going to latch in this floor panel. I put that cover over there, but I'm missing 2 screws, so I'll put the screws on the back side of it, and next time I see the vehicle I'll put the other 2 screws on it. Handle's broke on this oil dipstick, so I have another one. Make sure it's the same part number, same length, and replace it and check the oil. So the part number is there. 921 is the last 3 digits, and 921 is the last 3 digits on that one. So let me check the oil and then see if I got a coolant bottle I can replace that coolant bottle with. Level's good. I'm going to add a half a quart to it just to top it off. I have no idea what's in the oil or what type of oil it is, but I'm going to put 1030 full synthetic, and I'm going to change it soon because I'm going to do the PCV system. I don't think it's ever been done, and it's inflating the glove when I get those parts in. So I'm not a real stickler as to matching what was in there. Of course you want to use full synthetic because it is a turbo car. And then after that I'm going to replace this latch here because it's broken. It keeps coming loose from the hood, and I have a replacement one here that seems to be in better shape. So let me add a little oil first. The old latch here, it has a tab broken off there. The replacement has the tab there, so I should be good to go. Let me move this arm over and lock this in place. Yeah, I hooked that latch on there. I put it in place, slid it down, and it popped in place, so it should be good to go. Now I noticed that this grill is broken. I might try to get that glued on or find another grill for this vehicle. At any rate, let me check on the coolant, and I need to drain the power steering fluid. The power steering is real stiff when it's cold, and as soon as it warms up it's fine. So I'm going to replace the fluid with the automatic transmission fluid. I'm going to replace this rear hatch latch. It doesn't like opening from the outside all the time, and it gives me a hatch open warning on the instrument cluster. And I have a used one out of a vehicle out of the salvage yard. I have the hatch panel pulled down. Now I'm going to unplug it there, unhook these linkages, and take this, looks like a T40 out there, and there, and work this latch out. Now that I have everything unplugged from there, I'm going to remove these 3 T40s and work this out of here. I have the trip thing there. When you pull a handle, that's what pushes the latch down. You need to release that there and get that out of the way here. So, flat tip screwdriver or something, unlock that, then push that out of there. Now you have that out of the way. Those 3 bolts are removed. That latch should come right out. Make sure they have the same part numbers and look the same wiring harness, which they should. So I'm going to feed this up in here. Put those 3 bolts in and start connecting my jigsaw puzzle back up. I have the button, lock and unlock button, hooked in there. I pried it in with this till it popped in. Your handle here, so when you pull your handle outside, it actually, that goes to this. It just sits in like a little cup area. So when you pull your latch outside, it pushes down on that. This is something else that goes to your key. So when you put your key in there, this locks and unlocks it with the key. Now I'm going to try to get the handle assembly back on. Well, it appears that somebody had a challenging time getting this off because it's broke, but it does have 2 10mm bolts on either side, and it's got this latch here, and that latch I would assume goes down into something if this is hooked up like this. So let me see if I can figure out what that falls into and get that back in place, the internal latch. Okay, that little poker on that internal latch appears to hit that little square there. So I'm going to seat that on there, and it's almost the same as the thing out there. They're together. Then I'm going to put these 2 10mm bolts there. Then I'm going to try to put the cover back on, which looks like it'll be a little bit of a challenge because I only have 1 clip in the panel, so I'll have to order some of those. I snugged these 2 screws down on the sides. I made sure that plastic was tucked in there, and that metal bar is somewhat aimed toward that square, but it's not that tight. So I'm going to throw the latch like that there with a screwdriver. Let me finish throwing that screwdriver. And I'm going to flip this to see, and it did release the latch, so that's good. Alright, let me go ahead and close the door, see if it latches, see if I can open it. That locks it, that unlocks it, and then I'll go on the inside and see if the light is out when it's closed. Okay, it is closed. Before I had to double clutch it and triple clutch it to open it. Now it opens right up and the lift's lifted up. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm going to start the car and see if the open rear hatch light is still on. Okay, down there in this corner down here was that rear hatch light. I'll start the car it stays off. I'm gonna go open the rear hatch and see if it comes back on with the car running. And it does illuminate a rear hatch, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put the panel back on and wrap up a couple more things. Now you got 3 receivers here, or 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom, that's supposed to have clips slid in them, and that secures that panel on and makes it quiet. And the 4 things slide into those slots on the bottom, which all 4 of them are missing, so I need to order those. And then up here I have 1 missing there, 1 missing here, 1 there, and the other one missing there. So I don't know if it really makes any sense to try to put this panel on, because it's not going to stay on, it doesn't have the clips. So I think I'm going to pass on that for now and revisit that later. Topped off the coolant. Seems like it may be losing coolant. So I'm going to try to find out what's going on there. And I'm going to go inside real quick and check the heater core. So let's go see what's going on there. Man, this panel looks like it's in good shape. You don't find that often. I'm going to pull that screw, lower that panel, pull the stuff back, check the heater core. The heater core does not look that old, so I'm going to try to get the camera under there and take a picture of what looks to be a sticker over there maybe. Or I'm going to try to pull the sticker off if that is a sticker. See if I can figure out what that is. From what I can gather from pictures and looking at it, this looks like it may be an old heater core. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it next time I see the vehicle and go from there. Hopefully that'll be the end of any coolant issues. So let me button this up. I'm getting ready to siphon the power steering fluid out of the reservoir with a turkey baster, and then I'll fill it up with fresh fluid and be done with it until I see it again. So I used a turkey baster to get the fluid out of the power steering pump, and the stuff seems to be really thick and a little dark. So I put some fresh transmission fluid in there. Hopefully after 2 more cycles of this will be running a lot smoother. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.